concrete work, lots of it. Hi, I'm Ivan. This is DIY Detail. In this episode, we'll be doing a lot of things. We'll be ripping out the old concrete, putting in new concrete, and in-floor heating, drain, something that we've never had before, and also a lift inset into the floor. So follow along. Let's check it out. The garage renovation continues. Now, we've got a container here to put some of the heavier stuff, and Sylvie has moved in filing cabinets. So these filing cabinets are going to stay there. And that's to put away all the stuff that was on that counter. That wall is soon to be going away. This car is in here being fixed. Will be gone soon. What's on this wall will be going away as well as this little stub wall here. And we're starting to take out the floor in some areas and getting rid of everything that was in here. Now, the BMW is going to be going out soon. So are these tools. And then we can start basically removing all the stone that's down here underneath the wood floor. See, it's just stone down here. Bringing it down to the original concrete, and then we're having new concrete poured a little later this week. We'll keep you updated on what's happening. The garage is almost ready for the next step. We have the old floor up, all the walls taken out. Cutting the concrete using machines, and the yellow line basically is limiting where we're cutting. Inside of that, though, all this is going to be done. Bigger saw to cut it into smaller pieces because the little tool isn't quite enough to lift this big slab of cement. As you can see here, he's using the bobcat to break it up in between the lines where he cut, and then carry it out. Quite the undertaking. It took about 4 hours to cut out the old slab. Carrying it away, very simple. Used part of the slab, piled other parts on it, and you can see exactly the beautiful straight cuts that the guy did. But just carrying it away, and from there, we now have nice empty room. Once we got the floor all flattened out, next step was to put the drain in. I wanted to get the floor flat before putting the drain in. That way I knew where everything was going to be going. So there we go. The drain is in so far. I'm going to backfill this to that corner. And then from there, continue on where the lift is going to be. I'm waiting for the contractor to be here to dig out the hole for the lift. So I'll backfill all of that into here, leaving that little end exposed. Wait a minute, backfilling with a shovel? Didn't I just see a Kubota tractor sitting there? Let's get the tractor instead. All backfilled and now ready to compact. Another day begins. The concrete crew is here. They put in part of the lattice work and the tubes that go into the floor. The beige that you see around the edge is an insulator, but also gives them the finished slab height, making it a lot easier for them when they install. Now, if we come around to the other side, we will see the hole dug for the pit, and they're starting to mix the concrete for the base of the pit. Now they are having to do this in 2 stages, so they're mixing the concrete for that lift that's going to be going in that hole. Once everything is mixed, they're putting it in, and then the drain that came all the way to here is partially covered up. That's all going to be connected together. Over here, the black line. Once they get all this concrete mixed, they've got a pallet of it to mix up, and they'll be pouring that base about 6 inches thick and much wider than it needs to be, because that has to support all the way to the lift. So it's hand mixing. It's not worth getting a truck in here for this, but they're using a little mixer there. It's working great. And once they get all that filled in, we let it sit for a day, and then they can continue on with the tubing on the floors, getting it all laid out. Almost ready for the new floor. Built the forms for the lift, so that's the hole that the lift is going to go in. So the forms are cross braced, they're ready to go. Have the pipe that is going to go to the control, so all the hydraulic lines will be going through here and up there for that controller. That's right there. And then all the piping on the floor is done on that section. Tomorrow they're coming in, they're doing the metal work around these forms and finishing up the pipes in the floor. Then from there, we're ready to pour some concrete. Ready to go tomorrow. They start pouring the concrete. So there's the forms. We have all the tubes in the flooring. All the iron is down and the grid. They tagged into the existing concrete here. So very good there. So we won't have a problem. Extra loops for the front of the door. That way the heat is concentrated where we want it. And we're ready to go. The calm before the storm. We have the concrete guys here. We have the concrete finisher. We have the concrete pump. We're just waiting for the concrete truck. The guys have had their lunch. They're waiting the concrete truck to show up, and then pour will start. Finally ready to pour some concrete. The first step is actually purging the line from the pump. That's what they're doing here. Pouring it into a bucket, but making sure the line is spread out. And then from there, the rest begins. We can see the first jets of concrete coming out of the pump. It's quite a process. The pump is very loud. That's why I'm doing a voiceover. The noise canceling headphones just couldn't handle it. So like I said, the one gentleman that owns the pump is the one controlling it, and then the concrete crew, and then the person leveling. Now they're checking with a laser level to make sure that they have the levels right. And once they're good to go, they're gonna speed up and spread the concrete. It's going to take 4 trucks to fill this space up. So there's quite a bit of concrete. They will pour in sections and bring it forward, and they'll level as they go. So they'll pour basically 1 truck's worth, level it out, and then go from there. Starting the second truck's worth, you can see in the back they have some of the stuff leveled out, and just continuing to pour This, as I said, was quite the long process. Took them total about 6 hours to get this space laid in and power trowel. And you'll see the power trowel coming out. It's quite interesting. It's a neat thing. But first, let's finish off this section of the concrete. The transition from one concrete truck to another, the pump operator is there to supervise, making sure that everything is going as he desires, and he's basically the one controlling the pour, so he's the one that signs off on the trucks, etc., but also making sure that his pump is working correctly. Inside, they're continuing to work. They've got it nicely leveled, that first section, and starting to work on the second section. Quite interesting. I've poured concrete in the past myself, but nothing this big. Pouring's all done. Now they're getting the final level. They're doing it by hand around to make sure that we've got the correct slope. It's turned out well, and it's a lot of work. It's very tedious. The guys are really doing a good job at this. The pump is still running. There's still a bit of cement in it. The last truck is driving away, and from there, we have to let this cure. And curing is something that takes a long time. Cement is something that the longer water is with it, the better it is. Now, the power troweling, this is 4 blades going around in a circle. Think of it as a big concrete rotary, and they're just going over it, and it brings what they call the cream out of the concrete, and that's what you see there. And this is the first step. They'll be doing this several times, going over it till it's smoother and smoother and smoother. Of course, working the edges, making sure that where they can't get at it with the power trowel, like around the tubes for the toilet and the drains, that they work it quite nicely, and they want to have a nice even slab everywhere. So again, still working by hand the edges, and the power trowel still going and going again. Round 2 of the power troweling is done. You can see it's starting to get a bit of shine. It's a lot smoother. They're just going around the edges, making sure everything is good. You can see around the lift there. And let me get a little closer up here, and you can see how the concrete is getting a bit of gloss. It has less of that liquid on top. And they're just going to keep working that in till it's nice and smooth and flat and straight.
Right now, I'm wetting this concrete down every 2 to 3 hours, keeping it wet for the next 7 days. That's the recommendation, to have a nice hard concrete surface. So that's what we're going to do. The pit, soon we'll take out the forms in there and we'll actually build a little raised area for the lifts to sit on. That way when the water goes in there, the lifts aren't sitting in water.
We're going to clean the place up. We've emptied out as much as we can or as much as we want to. Now we have to clean the walls. And let me show you how we're going to be doing that. Seeing as we're automotive detailers, of course, we're going to be using a foam cannon. So we've sprayed foam on the ceiling all the way down here. And on this half, we're going to do one half completely and then come back and do the other half. In our foam cannon, we're using DIY Detail All Clean and Incredible Suds mixed together. 1 ounce of Incredible Suds, 15 ounces of All Clean, the rest with water. And it's doing a great job. Let's put you on a time lapse and you can watch us clean the garage. A little bit of progress. We have everything cleaned, taped off, ready to paint. And in here, we're ready to pour the self-leveling concrete. So the 2 lifts will be sitting on pads that are elevated about 1/2 inch. That way, when water comes down, because that's what the drain is, the lifts won't be sitting in water. They're elevated, and where you see the wood around the edges there, that is going to create a trough for the water to make it to the center. That's what we're doing. The self-leveling compound is there. We're just waiting for the primer to dry. So the primer, as you can see, has that dark color, but where it's sort of the fluorescent green, that's yet to dry. That's why we have the 2 little fans blowing there to dry, because it's a little humid today. It's been drizzling all day long. Other things that have happened, we closed off that little storage area there, put a door, and the underside of that piece. That way, when we paint, it'll be a lot cleaner. Took the propane furnace down temporarily. We'll go back up as soon as we're done. Now it's time for the concrete to dry. And you can see that there's some bubbles coming to the surface. That's normal. They're going to come to the surface, pop, and then from there level back out again. In the back corner there, we can see just a little bit one of the screw heads just poking through. So that tells me we have just the right level in that basin. And in the other basin on the other side, same thing. We have 2 screws just lightly popping through, one there, one there. And in the center, you can actually see a little bump right there, that the screw is there, but it has a bit of self-leveling compound on it. So we know that everything is nice and level on both sides. We're just waiting for the bubbles to burst, and then we're fine. Now, this ends the project for in here. We have this catch basin cover, which has the holes in it, and this is where the water is going to go first. So the first catch basin is to catch not only the water, but also any grit or sediment. The second catch basin, we're actually going to be putting a dividing wall in it with the passage going from the first section to the second section at the bottom. That becomes a grease trap. So any grease that's in here is going to get trapped in that first section or in the second section of a triple trap. So the first one here, we have grit and anything heavy, it's going to settle out. It goes to the second area here. That area is going to catch grease. And then the third area should be relatively clear water. And then it goes out to the drain. Purposely, we made the drain a little low here so it's level for a little bit and then goes back down to the drain. Because of the distance, there's only 2 feet here that it's level, and then it slopes up a little bit. And then from there, it slopes down at 1/8 per inch. That way, I'm sure it carries its way over all the way to the drain, which is behind that black thing there. So there's a good distance there. That's why we wanted a good slope there. Now, the rest of this area, tomorrow it gets painted. Everything is ready for paint. We have all the electrical boxes, everything taped up, the windows taped up, the doors taped up, and we're ready to go on the paint. Once all this is painted, Sylvia and I are going away for 3 weeks. That'll give the concrete more than enough time to harden, to settle, to do what it needs to do. It'll give the paint more than enough time to harden, settle. And then from there, when we come back, that's when we start building out walls, when we start building out doors, getting the water system in place for the detailing area, getting the electrical in place for the manufacturing or the fabrication area, and then from there we'll have a nice functional truck.
Thanks for tuning in. There's a lot more to come in this garage. Let's show you a bit of what it looked like before. Please join us next time where we'll be getting a bit of lighting in the shop. And until then, happy detailing.